Alone at Night. Chapter 1. The Empty Room. The clock on the wall ticked softly, filling the silence of the small apartment. Emma sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the window where the moonlight slipped through the curtains. It was midnight. The world outside seemed asleep, but inside her chest, her heart was restless. She lived alone. After her parents passed away in an accident 3 years ago, Emma moved into this one-bedroom apartment in the city. She worked during the day at a bookstore, smiling at customers, arranging novels on the shelves, and answering polite questions. But at night, when she returned home, there was nothing but silence. Silence was both a friend and an enemy. It allowed her to think, but it also reminded her how empty life could feel when no one was there. Tonight, the silence seemed louder than usual. The wind brushed against the windows, and the streetlight outside flickered. Emma hugged her knees and whispered to herself, "Why do nights always feel longer when you're alone?" Chapter 2. Memories in the Dark. When she turned off the lamp, shadows filled the corners of her room. Emma closed her eyes, but instead of sleep, memories came back. She remembered sitting at the dinner table with her mother's warm laughter and her father's deep voice telling stories. She remembered the smell of her mother's cooking, the way her father used to pat her head, and the little dog, Max, who always barked when someone opened the door. Those nights had been full of life, noise, and warmth. Now, there was only the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. Her eyes grew wet. "I wish they were here," she whispered, but wishing did not change reality. Loneliness wrapped around her like a blanket that could not keep her warm. Chapter 3. The Sound Outside. At around 1 a.m., Emma suddenly heard a sound. It was faint, like footsteps in the hallway outside her door. She froze, her breath stuck in her throat. She listened carefully. The sound came again, slow, dragging steps. Her mind raced. Is someone there? Did someone follow me? Fear spread through her body. Living alone had made her sensitive to every sound at night. She stood up quietly and walked to the door, her bare feet cold on the wooden floor. She placed her ear against the door. The footsteps stopped. The silence returned, heavier than before. Her hands shook. After a long moment, she stepped back, locked the chain on the door more tightly, and whispered, "It's nothing, just the neighbor." But deep inside, she wasn't sure. Chapter 4. Talking to the Night. Emma walked back to her bed, but could not sleep. She opened her notebook from the drawer and began to write. Writing was her way of talking to someone, even if that someone was only a blank page. She wrote, "I feel like the night is alive. It watches me. It listens. Maybe I am not really alone. Maybe the night itself is my only companion." She stopped and looked at her words. A strange comfort filled her heart. Maybe the night was not an enemy. Maybe it was a quiet listener. She continued writing until her eyelids grew heavy. Slowly, she drifted into sleep. Chapter 5. The Dream. Emma dreamed of walking in a forest at night. The moonlight guided her path. The trees whispered as if they had voices. She followed the sound and reached a small cabin. A warm light glowed from inside. When she opened the door, she saw her parents sitting at the table, smiling. "Emma, come sit with us," her mother said. Emma's heart leaped. She ran forward, but before she could touch them, Everything faded like smoke. She woke up in her dark room, tears sliding down her face. "Why do dreams feel so real?" she murmured. Chapter 6. A new routine. The next day at the bookstore, Emma tried to hide her tired eyes. But her coworker, Anna, noticed. "Didn't sleep well again?" Anna asked. Emma forced a smile. "Yeah, nights are just hard sometimes." Anna nodded with understanding. "I know what you mean. I used to live alone too. The silence can be heavy. You need something that makes the nights easier." "What do you mean?" Emma asked. "Try keeping a small light on, or play music softly. Sometimes just knowing their sound helps." That evening, Emma tried it. She played soft instrumental music on her phone as she got ready for bed. The room felt a little less empty. She still felt lonely, but the music filled the silence. It was a start. Chapter 7. The Stray Cat. One night, as Emma returned home from work, she saw a small black and white cat sitting near the building's entrance. Its eyes were wide, and it looked hungry. Emma bent down and whispered, "Hey there, little one." The cat meowed softly. Emma smiled and gave it some of the leftover food she had in her bag. The cat ate quickly, then rubbed against her leg. That night, when she sat in her apartment, she thought about the cat. For the first time in months, she didn't feel completely alone. The next day, she bought some cat food. Slowly, the stray began visiting her every night. She named him Shadow. Chapter 8. Shadows and Comfort. With Shadow around, the nights began to feel different. Emma would sit by the window, the cat curled on her lap, while she read a book or wrote in her notebook. The footsteps in the hallway still came sometimes, but she felt less afraid, knowing there was another heartbeat near her. One night, she whispered to Shadow, "Maybe I wasn't meant to be alone. Maybe you were sent to me, so I would have a friend." The cat purred softly, as if answering. Chapter 9. Facing the Fear. One Friday night, the footsteps came again, louder than before. Emma's chest tightened, but this time, instead of freezing, she opened her door quickly. To her relief, it was only Mr. Thomas, her elderly neighbor, who lived 2 doors down. He looked surprised. "Oh, Emma, sorry if I scared you. These old legs of mine drag when I walk." Emma laughed nervously. "I thought someone was out there." Mr. Thomas smiled kindly. "Don't worry, child. You're safe here. If you ever feel afraid, knock on my door." That night, Emma realized something important. Sometimes fear grows bigger in silence, but when faced, it becomes smaller. Chapter 10. Not alone anymore. Weeks passed, and Emma's life slowly changed. Nights were still long, but they were no longer empty. She had her notebook, her music, Shadow the cat, and the comfort of knowing there were kind people around her. One night, as she sat at the window watching the stars, she whispered, "I'm not really alone. My parents are in my heart. My cat is here. The night listens, and tomorrow always comes." The loneliness never completely disappeared, but it became something she could live with. She learned that being alone at night did not mean being lost. It meant finding strength in herself, finding comfort in small things, and realizing that even in darkness, there is always a little light. And so, Emma's story continued, with the night no longer her enemy, but her silent companion. Chapter 11. Winter Nights. Winter arrived quietly. Snow covered the streets outside, and the nights grew colder and longer. Emma lit a small candle on her table every evening. The soft flame flickered and made the shadows on her wall dance. Shadow the cat now spent most nights inside her apartment, curled near the heater. Emma sometimes laughed. "You came into my life like a shadow, and now you're the brightest part of my night." But even with warmth and the cat, some nights were heavy. Sometimes the silence returned stronger, whispering doubts into her mind. She would look around her small apartment and think, "Is this all there is to life?" Those nights were the hardest. Chapter 12. The Letter She Never Sent. One cold night, Emma opened her drawer and pulled out a half-written letter. She had started it months ago, but never finished. It was addressed to her mother. "Dear Mom, I don't know if you can see me. I don't know if heaven is real, but if it is, I hope you're happy there. Nights are hard without you. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I talk to the darkness as if you are listening. I want to be strong, but it's not easy. I miss your voice. I miss the way you used to hug me. I feel so small without you." Her hand shook as she read it again. She added one more line. "But I'm learning, Mom. I'm learning how to live. I'm learning how to love the silence." She folded the letter and placed it back in the drawer. Chapter 13. A Stranger's Kindness. One stormy evening, as Emma left the bookstore, the heavy rain caught her by surprise. She didn't have an umbrella, so she stood under the shop's awning, hugging her coat tightly. A man approached, holding an umbrella. He was tall, with kind eyes. "Do you need help?" he asked. Emma hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, thank you." He walked her halfway to her apartment building, talking lightly about books and weather. She learned his name was Daniel, a university teacher who loved reading. Before leaving, he smiled. "Be safe, Emma." That night, as Emma sat alone, she thought of Daniel. For the first time in years, the idea of sharing her life with someone didn't feel impossible. Chapter 14. Nights of Courage. The next nights were filled with small acts of courage. Emma started leaving her curtains open to watch the stars. She began writing poems about the moon, about shadow, about her memories. One of her poems read, "The night is deep but not empty. It holds my fears and my dreams. It holds me when no one else does." She pinned the poem above her bed. Chapter 15. A Knock at the Door. One night, just past midnight, there was a knock on her door. Emma's heart pounded. She peeked through the peephole. It was Mr. Thomas, her old neighbor. "Emma?" "Sorry to bother you," he said weakly. "I don't feel well." Emma opened the door quickly and helped him sit. She called an ambulance and stayed with him until the paramedics arrived. After that night, Emma visited him often. Sometimes she brought soup. Sometimes just sat and talked. She realized that loneliness was not only hers. Others carried it too. Chapter 16. A New Understanding. The more Emma connected with others, the less frightening the nights became. She realized something important. Loneliness does not always mean being without people. Sometimes it means being without connection. And connection could come in many forms. Through a cat's purr, through a neighbor's smile, through a stranger's kindness. The nights were still long, but now Emma whispered to herself, "I am not alone. Not anymore." Chapter 17. A Walk at Midnight. One weekend, Emma decided to take a walk at midnight. At first, she felt nervous. But then she noticed how beautiful the world was at that hour. The streets were empty, the air cold and fresh, and the city lights sparkled. She walked to the small park near her building. There, she sat on a bench, looking up at the stars. She felt peaceful. A thought entered her mind. Being alone at night isn't always a curse. Sometimes it's a gift. It's the world's way of giving me time with myself. She smiled at the stars and whispered, "Thank you." Chapter 18. The Promise. Emma promised herself that no matter how dark the night became, she would not let loneliness defeat her. She would keep writing, keep caring for Shadow, keep helping her neighbor, and keep her heart open to the possibility of new connections. She had discovered that nights may be long, but they always end. And when the sun rises, hope rises too. Chapter 19. The Light in the Window. One evening, as she sat by her window with Shadow in her lap, she noticed something across the street. In another apartment, a woman about her age was sitting by her window too, reading a book. Their eyes met for a moment. Emma smiled shyly and waved. The woman waved back. Emma laughed softly. "See, Shadow, even across the darkness, there are others like me." The night no longer felt like a wall. It felt like a bridge. Chapter 20. Not Alone at Night. Emma's story was not about escaping loneliness completely. It was about learning how to live with it, how to soften it, how to find light even in the darkest hours. She realized that being alone at night had taught her strength, patience, and the beauty of small things. The night was no longer her enemy. It was her teacher. And as she closed her notebook that final night, she wrote, "I am not afraid of the night anymore. I am not alone. The world is wide, the stars are near, and tomorrow is waiting."